Yeah, so we started really with Asante having the conversation at an early age. Maybe even, I would say it was probably premature on our part. When he was younger, probably about 3 years old, like, our family, operates from a space where we're extremely proud of who we are as people of African descent. And so one of the things that we had around our house when he was younger was like images. And one of those images happened to be of a man who had ropes on his back. And so Asante's like 3, and he's looking at these images. And so we're having to explain these images to him. And what we realized during that time period was that with him seeing that type of imagery, he even came to us at one point and said he was afraid. He was afraid based off of what he saw in the narrative that was around that particular image. And so we removed those images. And as he got older, we had additional conversations with him about that, just our history in this country and what we've had to endure. And so in terms of having the conversation, like, it's been an ongoing process because he's the oldest of 5. And so we're constantly having these conversations, not just when instances arise, but, just the church that we will go to back at home. It's something that's constantly on our mind. Not that we're playing defense, but we're playing offense in the sense that we want to make sure that they're well equipped with who they are as people of African descent and how to navigate certain situations in the event that they find themselves in. And then him turning 18, becoming an adult, him getting his license when he was a little bit younger than that, him driving, having more flexibility and freedom. Like, there are different conversations that have to be had. And, with that being said, like, I get the anger because I too myself feel anger. And you don't want to hold it in. It's important to emote. It's important to express yourself. However, at the same time, you want to make sure that you're doing it productively and that your actions aren't counterproductive. So, again, just having that ongoing conversation with him is something that my wife and I have had to do on an ongoing basis, and we'll continue to have to do for all of us. Yeah, and so one of the things, we actually had this conversation recently we were all in the car going out to celebrate Asante's birthday. And in having the conversation, what I was sharing with the kids was that, when it comes to police officers, I definitely get the whole idea of snitches get stitches, don't tell, don't opt, is what the kids say. I understand that and I hear it. However, at the same time too, like, my wife and I, we both have social work backgrounds. And so we've been in these streets, we've been in certain communities and in certain neighborhoods where we've actually seen the police to be a benefit and an asset, especially when there's concerns about safety. And so I don't want it to be a conversation where it's just completely outright that the police are just bad, because they're not. I have police officer friends. Asante, he knows police officers who are also doing well. He might not, and the other children might not be able to it might not readily come to their minds. But again, they do serve a function. They serve a function. And I think that it's important that, we look at things from a balanced perspective. When we get too emotional, then we're not able to see the good as well as the challenges and spaces that are needed for improvement with that particular system. And some people might say a system of oppression, and I definitely get it because, my mindset is one where I see the validity in that. However, at the same time, too, I can also see the value, too. And so I don't want us to completely dismiss everything. I think that would be irresponsible.
I actually remember, like, right after, George Floyd was murdered, I don't think that any of my siblings were aware of it. But I had seen the video, and, like, I think that, I think my parents were, like, they were working or something, and I seen the video, and, like, all my siblings, they were out in the living room, and I kind of just made them aware of the situation, and told them what had happened, and, told them that I loved them, and, I just really make sure that you guys are, being safe, and that you guys, because it's real out here, we do have to go through these things, unfortunately, just because we are Black. But, it's also something of where you always want to remind somebody that's younger than you, or in my case my younger siblings, that regardless of the way that you see us being treated in the media and in the news and everything, you got, still at the end of the day you got to know who you are, and just know that like my dad said, we are of African descent. We do come from kings and queens. As much as people want to make that a meme, what I'm saying? Like, it is the truth, And you have to see yourself that way, because when, we are seeing these images of people that look like us, people that look like our parents, our cousins, our uncles, our aunts, our nieces, our sisters, our brothers, we see these images over and over and over again, then you can't start to question, okay, so then what is my value and what is my worth in this country? How do people see me, Which is why you have to really have that solid sense of self, and knowing, it's not that I have no value, it's just that they see the value and are afraid of that value and are scared of, the everything that we have overcome and everything we've been able to do in spite of, and that's why these things continue to go on.
Yeah, for me, my mindset is to really first and foremost try to not normalize but stabilize any emotional unrest that our children may be having. And because for me, the expectation is that he won't run. And if he does, I know that that may cause some inner turmoil for me. And so, if I'm experiencing it, then my children are probably experiencing it as well. And so my go-to would be to provide some source of emotional stability for them. And to, when you say hunker down, to me that does sound like stabilizing what we've been doing, and just seeing how we can further solidify and strengthen what we've been doing and expand it so that not just we in the household become better, but how can we expand that to the greater community? So that's the direction that I would go.
I would say the same thing. As much emotion as there would be there, because I definitely would have some. I'm sure there are many, 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 many people throughout the United States who have emotions. Honestly, either way that it goes, there's going to be a reaction, no matter what. So I think that it really is just you even though we work as hard as we do to make sure that things like this never do happen again. Sometimes sometimes things just don't work out, and we are hoping and we are putting manifesting and putting all of our energy towards a new president being elected, but just in case that there isn't, I mean, honestly, what are we going to do for ourselves? It's that same thing again about, they're not doing what we need for us. So what can we do for ourselves? What can we do to make our own lives better and our families' lives better and our communities' lives better? Because, at the end of the day, nobody's going to come and save you. You really do have to be your own hero, especially when, it matters the most. And I think that right now is the time that it matters a lot.
I think you're lucky because you have such a strong family, real family base, and then you have your extended family, your This Is Us family. Did those other conversations ever happen, or did you guys ever get a chance to talk about what was going on, with the political unrest and the George Floyd stuff?
Well, me and Sterling, we had a scene where we talked about it in this first episode. But I almost feel like, when you're acting and you do things like that, it's almost like we really don't talk about it outside of the scene, because it's almost like us talking about it in the scene, even though it's our characters, even though it's our job and we're acting, it still almost is a way of connecting with each other, and being vulnerable, because that's what acting is. It really just is putting yourself out there for your scene partner. And you guys having that exchange of emotions, So even though it may not be the exact emotions we're having, or maybe emotions that a writer wrote for us, we're still Black men at the end of the day. Us having that conversation, you can relate to what both Malik and Randall were saying. So it's almost as if, we don't have that conversation outside of it because because the writers of the show do so well of a job of making sure that it's incorporated all the time. No, I mean my other younger siblings, they're more athletic than I am. So
okay,
they're more like my dad. They're doing basketball and things like that. One of my sisters doing volleyball. But the youngest brother, the 4-year-old, he says he wants to be an actor. Of course, when you're 4, you never know with those things. But he is a very, I would say he is a very free spirit, a very wild spirit. So we'll see, if that manifests and if that comes true too.
I saw you that night at the police station.
Who are you?
Raymond?
I wondered who Raymond was.
That's where she got you?
Nah, man. I don't know nothing about it. A cop hit me in the park. I saw that. But tell me. I'm trying. That's like Antron? Yeah. I lied on you, man. Hey, do you have any tests today? What if we skip school? I'm serious. I could show you my Philly.
I don't know. I mean, I want to.
Then go with that.
You really not getting off?
To making the leap to, wanting to take acting, acting more seriously, like, to me, it wasn't a far stretch at all. But for us, again, he was the oldest at that time of 4. And in my mind, what we're thinking is that if you really want this, you got to demonstrate that you really want it. So, of course, doing things on YouTube are important. And what we used to tell Asante all the time, which we used to tell our other children, that, like, you don't need to have a big audience. You got access to a camera. You have access to, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and all that type of stuff. Just start recording yourself, and your discipline in doing that will dictate and determine how far you go. It will also show us whether or not you're really interested. And so what we saw in Asante is that with these YouTube videos, like, he was on it. He was on it. And so, again, when he took the leap towards, like, looking for a manager, we said to him, all right, you find the manager. And he did it. Like, he Googled, he found a local manager. And so he was showing his investment at an early age in the process. Now, of course, we had to pay the money, but you went from your child is to, like, if you really want something, don't just say you want it today and then tomorrow you want something else and you keep flip-flopping. There's room to do that, but if you really want it, show me your investment and then we'll support you. So it wasn't hard, for us, of course.
I want everything that I did to be as great, if not better than the last thing that I did. And, of course, that's hard to keep up that consistency throughout, an entire career. It's very few, if any, that have been able to do it. But, as long as I'm, because I'm very passionate about what I do, and, I'm not just out here, taking every role that's offered to me and doing everything that I could be doing. Because I could be, taking everything, especially because I'm so new to it. My mindset could be, I don't know what my next thing is going to be, so I got to get everything I can right now, before it all runs out, But for me, it's, more of a game of longevity. I want to be able to make sure that I'm taking, these very specific roles that allow me to put in the work and do my best with acting. Those other factors are, okay, what project are you doing? What director is it? How is the writing good? Is it a story that's worth being told? Is it a story you're connected to personally? So all of those factors I'm always constantly considering. Because I feel like if those components weren't there, then, even if I do give, put my all into it and give a great performance, it might not be received the same because, these calibers of works, which I've been very blessed to be a part of, especially so early in my career, they've been, top tier things. So I want to make sure I keep doing those.
The expectation is that he just put his best foot forward. That's really my only expectation. Just him do the best that he can do. And then whatever comes from it, comes from it. And so I'm just thankful that he's able to be happy and he's able to shine in this particular lane. But really, I just asked him to do his best. Like, don't half-step. Give it your all. And as he continues to grow, the pressure will continue to mount. And we'll be here to support him during that process as well. But just do your best. Do your best.
What's up? My name is Asante Blackk, and you have just been buzzed.